Hi everyone. We're just going to look at a topic that you've probably seen in one of your lessons. It was percentages. So when we looked at this, we asked the question, what is a percentage? We get various answers here. So the answers I were looking for is a percentage is just a bit of something. It's just like a fraction, a piece of something. But a percentage is a special fraction. It's a fraction out of 100. So let's take 100, 100. Let's move that 0 to there. Let's take that 1 and let's move it to there. And let's take the last 0 and move it to there. So what is that? That there, hopefully you recognise, is your percentage sign. That's what that is. That's where it comes from. Well, that's my version of it. Okay, let's move on. They use the word percentage or percent. What does that mean to you? Percent per 100 or part of 100, part of 100. Right. For some of you, you might need to know this equipment. We're talking about calculators. It doesn't have to be a Casio, any decent scientific calculator. So I know some of you get issued with them. That's fine. If not, in class we can talk about this. Okay. So, and like I say, any decent scientific calculator. So let's move on. So I'm just going back just to emphasise that percentages are fractions. So if we just start with 1%, that's really 1 out of 100, which is 1 over 100. That means 1 divided by 100. If you put that in your calculator, you should get 0.01. Next one, 7%. Again, it's 7 over 100, which means divide. 7 divided by 100. Decimal answer should be 007. 0.07. James Bond. Which one again? Okay, 69%, just picking arbitrary figures here, just to emphasise, get a little routine here. 69 over 100, 69 divided by 100 is 0.69. So let's go bigger than 100, because there are percentages bigger than 100. 123%, well that's just 123 over 100. Which is 123 divided by 100. And that is just, this time, 1.23 hopefully. So I'm just going to pick one of these. I'm going to pick this one, a 69%, so it's a 69 over 100. So 69 over 100, that was 69%. That's really 69 divided by 100. So that's what I've done there. Calculator or brain will tell you that is 0.69. That's fine. So fraction to divide to calculate an answer or brain answer. Fine. Right. Let's just have a wee look at these. And some of you know the answer to these right away. Because this 10%, it might be common type of percentage. So we'll just have a wee look. So what's 10% of £100? Are you saying £10? I think you're correct. Next one, 50% of £20. You're not thinking 50%, you're thinking half of £20. Because you associate, or some of you associate 50% as a half, because it's 50 over 100. 50 is half of 100. So the answer there is £10. Fine. Okay. Next one, 25% of 80. Well, that's ohms. Doesn't really matter what course you're doing. Could be milliliters, could be kilograms, could be amps. it could be people. We're only interested in the numbers, the 25% of 80. And a lot of you are thinking, well, 25%, well, that's half of 50%. So why don't we half it and half it again and get 20 of those things ohms? Some of you were fine with that, others were not. Getting a little bit confused. So let's go for one a little bit trickier. Let's go for 17% of £1,700 or whatever it is. So the way I'm going to operate here is this. I'm going to take the 17%. I'm going to turn that into the fraction. So I'm going to convert this so I can put it in my calculator. So I'm going to take the 17%, and what I'm going to do there, put down my equals, and I'm going to bring down that 17%. Okay. Sorry, I just had to pause that there. I had to change a page here. So I'm going to bring 17% as a fraction. Okay, so we emphasize that. That's a fraction. This word next to the 17% in the top line of, it actually means times. So we're just going to bring that down, make that a times. And whatever we're taking a fraction of, £1,700 in this case, we'll just bring it down. I like to change the fraction, the 17 over 100, I like to change that into what it actually means. So 17 over 100 here, 17 over 100, that really means 17 divided by 100. So that's what I'm going to do next. So 17 divided by 100. Then the next thing I'm going to do is bring down the times and the amount that I'm trying to find a fraction of, a piece of. Right, that looks fine to me. So now it's calculator time. So it's just going to be here for us. So we're just going to do 17 divided by 100 times, ignore the pound sign, but just go to the 1700. So 17 divided by 100 times the 1700. Okay, then hit your equals button. So hopefully calculator will say 289. It won't have a pound sign in it. It won't have that. But we've got a context here, we've got a story here. So we'll put that down. So hopefully that was fine. Right, let's move on. So here again, 12% of 2,400 G, whatever G is. A lot of people say grams. So if you think it's grams, we'll go for it as grams. So firstly, I'm going to take the 12% and I'm going to make that into a fraction because that's what it really is. The of, I'm going to bring that down because it's really a times. And then the part at the end, the 2,400 G or grams, bring it down. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that fraction and turn it into a divide. 12 divided by 100. That's at the front. Okay, so that's my percent. That's a fractional version of it. That's a division version of it. So that's the way I'm going. Okay? I know a lot of you have had brilliant teachers in the past. They've told you all different ways. That's fine. If your way works with your brilliant teacher, that's okay. Right. So I'm just going to times it by the amount. The 2,400 G's. Calculator time. Go and get your calculator or your brain, your piece of paper, pop it in, make sure you get G in the answer. Hopefully you get 288 G's. grams, grapes, gorillas, whatever. Okay, your turn. So I would like you to try these. So I'm going to give you 3 of them. Okay, 15% of 450, 3% of 300, and 13% of 2000. So if you're doing this in isolation, you can pause a little video here. Just pause it here and see how you got on. If you haven't paused it, and if you want me to do all the work, then I'll continue. Okay, 15% of 450. So I'm just going to go through the same routine as I did before. So percent into fraction of means times the amount, 450 in this case. I'm going to turn the fraction into a divide, so 15 divided by 100 times the 450, calculator, 67.5. That looks okay. Number 2. Right, before we do that, I just want to show you. I'm highlighting here on the right. The first line is what we're trying to figure out. Second line, we start to convert it. So the fractional part at the front, the fraction goes into divide in the third line. This is where you grab the calculator or brain. That's your answer. So 1, 2, 3, 4 lines here. Some people can maybe miss out line 2. If you know a percentage is a divide by 100, that's fine. Okay, question 2. 3% of 300. Okay, I'm going to do the same. 3% is 3 over 100 times the amount. 3 over 100 is 3 divided by 100 times the amount. Calculator time, and hopefully you get 9. Yet again, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of work. Don't just hit the buttons in the calculator and just write down 9. Put the workings down just in case you made a little mistake. Number 3. 13% of 2000. Let's go through it again. So this is repetition, repetition, repetition. Sometimes that's how people learn. Just like learning a new song. Sometimes we don't get it in the first go. So the percent to fraction, I'm just talking about the first part. Bring down the 2000. The fraction, the 13 over 100, that becomes a divide times the 2000. Calculator time. There you go, 260. Right. So every one of those we looked at, those 3 that were given to you, they didn't have any pounds, kilograms, grams. That was just abstract, or I call it naked. And for me, naked means no story. Right? No story. We don't know. We're talking about people, pounds, whatever it is. Elephants, don't know. Right. But the thing is, you're going to get stories. And we're basically just going to convert it to something like this here. So let's get a story. So we've got a pair of jeans, usually cost £80. There's your pair of jeans. That's information. And a sale, they're reduced by 20%. That's a further piece of information. Don't have a question yet. Here's the question. How much do they cost now? So if you want to pause the video now, you can do so and go and have a think about it. I would encourage you to do that. Some of you did it in class. Some of you are looking at this video for the first time because you may just be looking at it because your assessment is coming up and you've been busy with other subjects. That's fine. Right, so what I'm looking at here what's the things of importance here? Well, I think the cost, the original cost £80, I think that's important. I also think what's happening, well, it's getting reduced. What does reduced mean to you? Well, to me, it means to go down. That's what it means. Some people say minus, take away. It's fine. It doesn't matter kind of what words you use, as long as you know what's actually happening. So reduced by how much? 20%. And also, what is the question? How much does it cost now? Okay, always look at the question. Right, so we can attack this in different ways. So, or the word attack, you might think that's quite strong, or approach it in a different way. I think I'm just going to go for the straight percentage first. And then I'll see what I'm going to do with that. So I'm going to take the 20% of £80, percent into fraction, times £80, fraction into divide, 20 divided by 100, times £80, calculator time, hopefully you get £16. Okay, no, that is not the price of the denims, because what's the £16? What is it in relation to the £80? Well, the £16 is actually a reduction. Okay, so let's move on to a fresh page here. So I'm just putting a little title here. Original price is £80. I'm going to take away the reduction, which was £16, and hopefully you get £64. Hope we're fine with that. Right, so that's the first one we had with a kind of story, a narrative, what we want to call it. There are loads of other approaches. As long as you're getting the same answer, I keep saying it again and again, I am fine. I am fine with that. So here's another approach. Or you can consider the original price unchanged. That's 100%, regardless of what it is. The reduction was 20% that you're going to subtract. So we could have done that. So you're actually paying 80% of the original price. So what we could actually do here is just take 80% of the £80. So 80 over 100 times £80. 80 divided by 100 times £80. And again, you still get £64. But if you don't like that approach there, just resort to what we did earlier. It's really the same amount of work. This secondary one is not a shortcut. It's the same amount of work. We get the same answer. It's up to you how you deal with it. And again, if you've got a different method that works, use it. Okay, another story. Here we go. I talked about a house that cost £80,000 2 years ago. And this, the 2 years, that's sometimes what they call a red herring. It's irrelevant. It's the £80,000 we're interested in. Right, what's going to happen next? Well, it looks like it's going up for sale. That's fine. So when it goes up for sale, what's going to happen? Well, apparently last week the owner sold it and made a profit of 17.5%. That's just an additional piece of information. We need a question. Here's the question. How much did they sell it for? How did I know it's a he? Because it's my brother. And it was him that sold it last week. Okay? So, have a little think. If you want to pause the video here, please do so and have a go at it yourself. Okay, if you paused, had a go, or if you're just waiting for me, well, let's go. Things of importance here: the cost, £80,000, the profit of 17.5%. But what does a profit mean to you? What does that word profit mean? Sometimes people say on top of, you add it on, an increase, things like that. That seems fine, as opposed to the last one where we had a reduction, we were taking something away. So profit means we're going to be adding on whatever the percentage is of £80,000. So let's go and get the percentage. So 17.5% of £80,000. Let's turn percent into a fraction, times 80,000. Fraction becomes divide, times 80,000. Calculator time. There you go, £14,000. Don't stop there, because you need to realise, what does the £14,000 represent in this story, this narrative, right? So the £14,000, that was actually the profit. Now, what we're going to do with the profit? Well, profit means on top of. So the sale price was actually the original price as on the profit. So I've just put little titles there. So the 80,000, add the 14,000, and we get 94,000, and it's all in pounds. The units are important here. Okay, that seemed okay. Just remember, you can pause the video at any point and just go back. Okay, just take your time. It's just like your Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever it is you've got. You can pause it, or your DVD. Right, let's go for another story. Before we do that, just to let you know that the people are looking at this, the majority of you were probably sitting in one of my classrooms, or were meant to be sitting in one of my classrooms. You might not have taken it all on board. That's why we're doing this just now. Okay. Right, let's go. Another story. So here we go. Tommy bought a car for £3,500 3 years ago. Don't care about Tommy, don't care about 3 years ago. We care about the £3,500 for this car. Okay, fantastic. That's information only. Okay, what's going to happen here? Let's see. Sold it last week for 25% less than the original cost price. That's an additional piece of information there. Okay, additional piece. Let's see. So what's the question? How much did they sell it for? So again, you can pause this and go away. And then once you've done it, restart the video and come back. So I'm going to continue now. Okay, I've just highlighted things here. So highlighting stuff can be good for you. It draws your eyes to the things that are important. £3,500, 25% less. So hopefully less is like reduced, goes down, minus. So let's just go and get the percentage first. 25% of £3,500. Percentage into fraction times the amount. Fraction into divide times the amount. Calculator time. Don't forget the pounds and the answers. Hopefully you got that. Okay, I think I've actually managed to squeeze the answer in here. Because you know, hopefully you know what to do with this amount here to get the sale price. Take the original amount, the 3,500, and we're going to subtract, because that's the less than value, the 875. So just pop that in your calculator, and hopefully you get £2,625, £2,625. Okay. Got the stories out the way here. Let's go for something else. Let's have a kind of a slight change. So the slight change here is we're going to actually just, how do we go about just changing a basic fraction into a percentage? So if I said, I gave you a half and says, how would you express a half as a percentage? Well, maybe that was, we mentioned that earlier, because we were asking what was 50% of £20, and a lot of you says, oh, you just half it. Because you knew that, you were familiar with that. So we're just going to go back the way. Instead of going to a percentage to a fraction, we're going to go from a fraction to a percentage here. So we're just going to pick any old fraction. So I'm putting 3 over 5, 3/5, which is really 3 divided by 5, 3 out of 5, however, whatever terminology you want to use. So all we do here is take the fraction, and to turn it into a percentage, we just multiply it by 100. So there you go. I'm just multiplying it by 100. So let's sort out the fraction. The 3 over 5 means 3 divided by 5 and times 100. Calculator time. 3 divided by 5 times 100. Your calculator or your brain will say 60, but because we're turning it into a percent, you need to put the percentage sign on the end. So hopefully you're okay with that. Right, let's go back. I'm not go back, let's go forward. So all I'm going to do is pick another fraction. So I'm going to turn the 3 over 5 on the second line. I'm going to turn that into another fraction. I think it's 5 over 8 in my script. It is. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to take the 5 over 8, multiply it by 100. Okay, so that's my start point here. I like to turn the fraction into a divide because that's what you're really doing. You're chopping up the 5 into 8 parts. That's what that means. And so 5 divided by 8 times the 100. So this is where you grab your calculator. 5 divided by 8 times 100. Pop it into the calculator, and calculator will give you a number coming back at you. Probably going to be a decimal here. But remember to put your percentage sign on it. Right. Or if you're getting fractional values in your calculators, speak to your lecturer in the class and they might be able to help you with your calculator. Okay. So what are you getting? 5 divided by 8, 50 plus 12.5. And he's getting 62.5%. Yep, that's what I'm getting. Right, that seems okay up to now. Okay. Let's go for a few more. 27 over 90. Freeze the video and try that. But I'm just going to up the pace here. 27 over 90 times 100. Fraction goes to divide times 100. Calculator tells me It's exactly 30. Put your percentage on it. Fine. Okay, story time. You thought we were getting away from stories, but this is where we use, this is where we express fractions as percentages for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I'm sorry, that is a box of eggs over there. Okay, what are they saying? 2 eggs are broken from a box of 6. So 6 is the total. Then what percentage of eggs are broken? Right, so what's relevant here? Well, the 2 from 6. And what percentage are broken? Okay, so 2 from 6. So the 6 is total, that's going to be the bottom part of the fraction, the 2 is going to be in the top. So hopefully, for our solution, our answer, 2 of the 6 are broken, so 2 over 6 times 100, so 2 divided by 6 times 100, and your calculator's going to come up with a variety of answers. If it's in a decimal mode, about 30, 33, 33.3, 33.333333. It's up to you what you put. Right, I'm just going to go to one decimal place here. I'm not going to get all worked up about it. I'm just going to go to one decimal place. That suits me. I'm okay with that. So, I think one of the pages I went on to at the end is part of the exercises. So, I'm not going to do that. I think that was a good little recap on what you might have done in class. It might have been more than some of you did in class. So I'm actually going to stop it here and save it and upload it for you. So well, that's 33 minutes. That's nearly double my last one I put up. Don't worry. So I'll see you next time, folks. Bye bye.